Okay, I changed some mic settings, so I'm just checking if they work. My voice is loud. One moment. We'll put this here, we'll put this here. Okay, I guess that means we're getting started. Okay, let me. Wow. Get us back into it. Okay, so today is not going to be super interesting, honestly. Mostly because we're just going to be writing notes for my first session. If that's something you're interested in, please stay, but if that's something you're not interested in, feel free to not stay. 1 second. Bop, bop. There we go. And we are set. Okay. I guess we are here. We are ready to go. So we're gonna be looking at a little bit of overarching storyline as well as doing first session notes. So yeah, let's just hop right into it. D&D, let's go. Okay. I am just a little new to this, so it might take me a second to get everything ready and good to go. One moment. Story beats. Let's pull those up just to take a look. Alrighty. Okay, so what we did our first time here was show you guys the world of Varia. So I also uploaded a video on that, so if you want to check it out, feel free. It just explains my world a little bit. And then we also did a on our second stream was we did a little bit of story building, not story building, of character arc building for Ayla on the second one, and then on our third one we did Cass and Oriana. So just an overview of those. Ayla does not remember much about her true past. She remembers a lot that some warlocks instilled in her. And then, so right now she's living in not living in a crafted reality, but her past is essentially a crafted reality. And then Oriana is part of basically a cult family that she has run away from, and is currently still on the run from said family. And then we have Cass, who is our werewolf boy, and he has also run away from home. This time the family doesn't want him back necessarily, but they will have motivations to essentially keep him out of the spotlight, just to keep him from sullying their good name. And then we have Lisbilda, which we weren't able to get to because this player wants to go and essentially build their backstory while we play, which is totally fine. But we do have the basics outlined, that her family was killed in the raising of the Honrith Mountains, and she is from the city Blossomborough, where she joined a traveling troupe called Myth of Melody. Yes. And then She also, she joined that troop. They travel from Boria and Freya across to Dakal and Tavasvaria. Not super into Tavasvaria. Actually, I think we determined they wouldn't travel into Tavasvaria just because the traveling through the woods is really dangerous. So yeah, that's where we're starting today. Blah, blah, blah. We also, actually, fun fact, we laid out some future story beats that we'd like to do as well for them. So, we'll kind of get into those as we do our first session notes. Alrighty, so where they are starting is going to be in Alnaar, in Dakal. And Dakal is going to be the main place where this story is taking place. Dakal is special in and of the fact that learned magics were created here, so things like wizardry and bardry, being a bard, musicness, were discovered here by what is legendarily known as a gnome woman who was originally a bard. So that's where we're starting there. Dakal is going to be a place that almost reveres music to an extent because of that legend. So we're gonna have a little bit of fun. Oh, in our first one, we also did some world building on the major cities, like how they work, the type of culture that they have, those kinds of things. So in Alnaar, what we're looking at is a city square with a giant fire opal in the center of it, which this fire opal gives a essentially gives a lot of power to the rest of the city. It's made up of buildings of, that's supposed to be sandstone, not limestone. We're struggling. I remember that being something I thought about after the stream. So, sandstone. Alrighty. So, this is essentially what we're starting with. Everything is basically sandcastles, which I'm excited about. And a lot of people actually build sandcastles as an example of the types of homes they want for their architects. That should be build, not built. We're doing some typo correcting. The government does have a water shortage unit, but it's mostly seen as cultural responsibility to have water for the rough times. So essentially, the government tries its best, but where there is no water, there's no water. This city would probably also have quite an emphasis on druidry because of that fact, in order to separate the salt from the water. But also to build the houses made out of sand. So the houses have spirals on them. The water can be collected down and be put into storage units underneath the houses as well. So keep that in mind. And then there are canals and other water passageways that deliver water. It's based on need, so basically these waterways are enclosed, and in order to not have all the water evaporate, and then these canals are basically filled 100% of the time from these water basins. So when we were doing the first one, Edwin showed the Chand Bowery, which is a we'll see right here, Chand Bowery, which is this thing, and it's essentially a giant well. So this is built into the ground. In our world, because we have a little bit more accessibility to things being able to be opened and closed more easily, this would have a roof of some kind over it. Yeah. So they have so much rain. When a reasonable amount of water falls and they can collect it, they use it in their cooking, and they go outside to appreciate the wilds of Melara. So I want rainwater to be a very sacred thing, as I said. But also, I want people to use it in a way that makes it feel sacred. I want my players, who I think all of them are from not Dakal, to witness that as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna drag this over here actually, just to keep it. So, how we're starting, we'll actually go right here, is my players are going to be starting in Alnaar. The date is the 25th of Fortuna, which we go up to here and see all of my months for my world as well. And down here, people are going to be making their way to the city square. Most of them will probably be up. Well, let's go through each of them. So we have Cass, Lisbilda, we have Oriana, and we have Ayla. 23, whoops. Alright, Cass, you have woken. So essentially, Cass will be trying to get information on the Thieves Guild leader, so he's going to be up when everybody else is not, to some extent. Normally not, I should say. Cass, you have woken up in order to sorry, it's been a long day. This is the end of my work day. You've woken up in order to gather information you need for your future endeavors. Yes, that's how you spell endeavors. Perfect. One. I'm particularly anxious today. I don't know why. I guess this is just part of it. Okay, so let's do this. Cass, you have woken up in order to gather information that you need for your future endeavors. Let's pull this up. So, we did a little intro thing for each of them. For Cass. Weird. Okay. 1 second. One second. And we're back. Okay. Okay. So Cass is in Alnaar to gather information on the Myriad. He is going to be meeting a shady person to gather information, so that's probably going to go into our... I think I should mention it, so that you need for your future endeavors. You, I think we will do him spotting somebody that he needs to talk to, basically right before this initial conflict starts. So the way that we're starting it is they are going to find a conflict that draws them together. In this case, it's going to be a couple of dust elementals, which I've kind of homebrewed-ish. They're a mix of air elementals and earth elementals. And then some dust mephits, because in the future they are going to be dealing with like demons. So we do need to include that in there. Just a tad, just to hint at it, just to slip it on in there. So Cass has woken up. Is there a way, hang on, view? Yes, perfect, brilliant. All right, Cass, you've woken up in order to gather information that you need for your future endeavors. The people you search for are easier to find in the early or late hours of the day. So essentially the time that they're starting in is going to be extremely early morning. So like, I would say Fortuna, hang on, I gotta check the dates. So Fortuna is gonna be summer to fall, so probably with how close they are to the equator, it's probably going to be like 3 or 4 a.m., somewhere in that range. So the people you search for are easier to find in the early or late hours of the day. And then down here, we're gonna put, for the moment before the conflict, Cass. As you spot someone who matches, I don't know how to phrase this, who matches the look of someone, because I can't reveal to the other players what Cass is looking for, which is essentially information on the HQ of the Thieves Guild. Maybe I should have Cass in the middle of talking to this person when the fighting breaks out. Yeah, that would be interesting, because then he would have to work to find that person or find somebody similar to him, and maybe these people can help him out with that. So, yeah, I think what we will do, the people you search for are easier to find in the early or late hours of the day. You spot someone who matches the description of what you're looking for. Perfect. I don't know exactly what Lisbilda's her motivation is going to be for being awake that early. It's probably going to be, along the lines of, just going out for a breath of fresh air is probably my guess. I would assume so. Yeah, city square, yeah, probably just out for a stroll. Out to appreciate the sunrise in the distance and grab a few items that you need for the day ahead. Oriana Let's take a look over here. Wop. I would say Oriana probably only feels truly safe during hours where people are not around. Or maybe she would feel more safe while people are around, so that her family that is looking for her can't just, you know, take her away and nobody sees it. That's something to ponder. Ayla, more than likely, you awoke due to a fitful sleep. The dreams that plague you. Well, I don't know if I want to reveal that to the rest of the group. So we'll see here. 1 second. Perfect. Okay. Due to a fitful sleep. Oh, you know what I did? I wrote a little something. Layout modification. Spellbook commands. No, where did I write it down? I think I wrote it down in my sticky notes. Notes list. That's not right. It's not in there. Where did it go? I wrote notes on this, I swear. They are simply gone. Let me see if I wrote it down. Maybe in my DM notes? Perfect. There it is. Delightful. Just looked in all the wrong places. Alright, so you find yourself winking your way to the city square where a giant fire opal floats above. You can see faint, purplish iridescent strands drifting through the air, the power source for the city. Very few people are of this or early, barely an hour after sunrise. Yes, the sun being gone from the sky is more rare here than in other parts of the world, and winter is more like spring would be in Latour. So if we're talking about essentially this is where Dakal is, and in theory this is shifted slightly down, so like the top of this is kind of where the same biome is. So imagine this whole thing is shifted down. Latour is going to have actual seasons, and it's going to be a little bit different in Dakal. So that's the idea behind that. Perfect. Cass, you've woken up in order to gather information that you need for your future endeavors. The people you search for are easier to find in the early or late hours of the day. You spot someone who matches the description of what you're looking for. Lisbilda, you are out to appreciate the sunrise in the distance and grab a few items that you need for the day ahead. Ayla, you awoke to a fitful sleep. The city streets give a nice relief from the nightmares you endured. Alrighty, and then Oriana. Oriana's the tough one, because I feel like she wouldn't have, a particular reason to be up that early. Maybe she's planning on traveling further from Tavasvaria, so she's looking for items for her travels. That's a good idea. Oriana, you have gotten up to gather some items for the day ahead. as you are still trying to travel further than even this city. Perfect. Alrighty. So now that we've got the beginning set up, what we need to do is do some some enemy planning. So let's go ahead and take a look at Earth Elemental 5e, the Air Elemental 5e, Womp, Womp, and Dust methods. D5E. Perfect. I'd rather use Roll20. There we go. Perfect. Roll20. Perfect. Okay. So let's go ahead and get out my monster card stuff. Monster cards. Perfect. Control C. And then we will go to Vary Groups, to Call Group, PC Stuff, Roll20, and PCs. Folder. Monsters. And we're gonna call this Dust Elementals. Perfect. Okay. Zoom in. I'm lost. There it is. Okay. So we're gonna call it Dust Elemental. It's going to be an elemental, who would have guessed? And challenge rating. So the Earth Elemental is CR5, Air Elemental CR5. This is going to be a combination of them, so probably CR6? Probably. We'll call that right. So let's do armor class is 17 and armor class 15. So we'll call it a nice even 16. HP is 126 and 90. So we'll do like 110-ish. The speed. So speed is going to be interesting because it's going to have a flying speed. 90 feet. And a 30 feet. 90 feet and 30 feet. So I want it to 30 feet. So when it's above the ground, it's gonna be floating. So we're gonna make it a 90-foot floating speed. So let's do a little note speed. 90 feet floating, right here. Floating speed. And I must have music. I'll just turn it down. 90-foot floating, and then a 30-foot burrow speed. Oh, by the way, I got these off of Etsy. I can't remember what they're called, but if you look up monster cards, you should be able to find them. I personally find them really useful for basically on the fly DMing, especially because if I come up with a random stat, I can just type it up real fast, toss it into there. Alright, so damage resistances. Lightning, thunder, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks. Perfect. Bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. So, lightning, thunder, bludgeoning, piercing, slashing. Lightning and thunder. That makes sense. Yeah. Maybe we just do thunder and not lightning. No, I do want it to be a little bit higher of a DC. So, a higher of a CR. So we'll do damage immunities, condition immunities, and senses, languages. All of that fun stuff. We'll toss in here. So damage immunities is poison, condition immunities, exhaustion, senses, dark vision 60 feet, and then this one should have tremor sense. Yes, 60 feet. Passive perception 10. Languages are going to be Orin and Terran. Okay, we've got those figured out. So let's look at the actual stats. So we've got strength +2, strength 20. So I think I want to make this +3. Methinks. Yeah, I think so. So we'll make it a 16, right? A 16. So actually, I don't really care about the numbers, so we'll just do a +3 to that. Dexterity should be on the higher end, so maybe a +5 since it is very air-centered. Constitution +2, Constitution +5, so we'll make that like a +4. Methinks. I think so. And then let's do Wisdom +0, Wisdom +0. Good for me. That's not the right one. Oops. Intelligence -3, -2. I suppose. I don't think I want them to be incredibly intelligent. And their charisma will be a -2 as well. We'll do a +0 since it's a CR6 creature. Methinks. Yes. Elemental. Perfect. Passive perception is going to be 10 since its wisdom is 0. Now let's look at the fun stuff. Air form. Alright, air form. The elemental can enter a hostile creature's space and stop there. Whoops, wrong one. And then we'll look at Earth Glide and Siege Monster. I don't want to do Siege Monster. I don't think that fits the vibe of the creature that we're creating right now. So speed is 90 feet floating, 30 feet burrow, damage resistance, lightning, thunder, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing, damage immunities. I think that's perfect. And these are just its abilities. So I actually think I tossed this into here. It might be too teeny tiny. That's too teeny tiny, I think. So we'll toss it, whoops, here. Multi-tack. So let's take a look. Let's copy these over. let's do actions. And then let's take a look at here as well. Oh, it's so teeny tiny. Okay, we'll start with these. Multi-attack. Multi-attack, perfect. +8 to reach. Melee weapon attack. I like it. The whirlwind though, we're gonna revamp. So each creature needs to make a DC 13. I want it to be Constitution. Let's just do con saving throw. On a failure, target takes 15 bludgeoning damage and is flung up to 20 feet away from the elemental in a random direction and knocked prone. I wanted to do more damage, just because it's going to be piercing as well, because this is dust, so it's just swirling around, and it's gonna be like basically stabbing them a million times. Death by a million paper cuts kind of thing. So we'll okay. If a thrown target strikes an object, the target takes. I don't. Such as a wall or. Okay, interesting. Up to 20 feet away. Okay, cool, cool, cool. If the target is thrown at another creature, the creature must succeed or take the same damage and be knocked prone. And is it flung away or knocked prone? Okay, so we are actually going to toss these over here. We're going to make the other side teeny tiny. Bop. Okay, speed, damage resistance, damage immunity. So let's do we'll do that to break them up. That'll make it a little bit easier to read, I think. Oops. There we go. Senses. Oops. Languages. And then we'll do these separate, just a teeny tiny bit. Perfect. Alrighty, and our actions. So that's what I think I want the dust elemental to do. It's also going to be piercing here. 3d8 plus 2, so this should be plus 3 since it's strength based. I wonder, let's take a look at these. Plus 5. So we made it more dexterity based, I think. Yeah. DC 13, con save, knocked prone, takes 1d6 bludgeoning damage plus 5, so this is going to be, I think it's 17, right? For Earth Elemental? Oh, so it should be plus 2 originally, so it's 17. Nope, 18 now. I can math, I swear. Just to get that set up there. Because we added 3 from their dex, we're making it dex-based rather than strength-based. So, flung 20 feet away, knocked prone. If it hits something, it takes an extra d6 for every 10 feet it was thrown, so up to 2d6. Plus 5. Perfect. This is gonna be fun, I think. It's gonna create a really dynamic fight on this front. Alrighty, now that we have the dust elemental figured out, we'll save that. monsters. Save. Yes. And then we also have... I think I'm gonna copy the dust methods stuff over, just so that I don't have to deal with it. This is a neutral. This was neutral evil. Whoops. Oh, there is an alignment spot. My bad. Neutral evil. Dust method. Elemental / fiend. So, dust methods are supposed to be little demons of some kind, little fiends of some kind. So we are going to make sure that that is represented in the type of creature that they are. So armor class is going to be 12, HP 17, speed 30, 30. We know that the second one is flying. I hate how small this little section is, but it's fine. So the fun thing about these guys, that we're gonna make up, that they don't actually do, well, they kind of do, but not really, is that they are going to multiply. So every round, every alive method is going to multiply by 2. So what we're gonna do is probably give them 3 or 4 of them, just so that they have a chance to see that in action before they kill them all. Yeah, so we're gonna do a +0, passive perception is 12. Challenge is 1.5. Nope, is 0.5. It should be 1/2. 100 XP. Orin Terran as well as... I wonder if we should... So, it's neutral evil, it's not chaotic or lawful. We'll do abyssal as well, I think. So... Orin Terran, abyssal and infernal. Perfect. Passive perception, senses. Okay. Speed 30 feet on the ground. He's a nimble little dude. And flying is 30 feet. Stealth +4. Vulnerable to fire. I don't think that makes sense. Personally. I don't think dust being vulnerable to fire makes sense. So we'll just say goodbye to that. I don't think that makes sense at all. And then we will do these just innate abilities. Death Burst. Perfect. We'll delete that. I want to use spell components anyway. Spellcasting ability is charisma. Well, that's a little dumb because it has 0 charisma. Actions, claws, and blinding breath. Actions. We will just toss this over here. Languages, senses. Condition immunities, poisoned. Damage immunities, poisoned. Skills and speed. I actually think that skills should be down here with senses. There we go. Death burst. When the method dies, it explodes in a burst of dust. Innate spell casting. Perfect. Actions that it can take. We have claws, a claw attack. And then we have a blinding breath. Recharge 6. We're gonna make that 5, 6. Should we? Because we're gonna end up having a ton of these. Because they're gonna multiply. Alright. And then we also need to make a note that at the end of their turn, all living dust methods multiply by 2. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Mitosis. Perfect. Okay. Dust elementals. Well, so we'll save that. We're gonna exit out of this real fast so I can rename this to dust, dash dust methods. Perfect. Lovely. Perfect. Okay. So, once we are done with that, we're gonna go to our session notes and make some fun stuff happen. Okay, so I don't know if we write out any dialogue for Cass. I think we do Cass last, so that if he does want to start up a dialogue, he is able to. Ayla woke to a fitful sleep. Gather some items. She's out to appreciate the sunrise. Perfect. Speed. Okay. So for our first notes, we're gonna write up a little bit for the dust elemental. So you hear a scream across the way. Oh, let's do it in the center of the square. So basically how I want this to go is in the center of the square are these creatures that just kind of appear out of nowhere. They're probably going to see somebody who's knocked back from the whirlwind, let's say, of the dust elementals. That way the players will be more focused on I think there's going to be 2 dust elementals. And they'll start going after them first, which will give the methods a couple of rounds, at least 1 round, to multiply. So yeah, you hear a scream in the center of the square. I definitely want this to last a couple of rounds. We'll see. Yeah, we'll do that in a second. In the center of a square, a woman, goes flying away from a swirling dust storm. Swirling dust. I don't want to say devil because dust devils, at least in Arizona, are very small and not. They don't really do much. They're just little swirls of dust. So we'll do a dust whirlwind. Landing on a pull-away cart that was being set up. Basically my cabbages moment right there. Pull away. Is that? They don't have any suggestions. Pull away. We'll do that. That was being set up. You see two of these figures swirling in place as people run away. I do want them to cause a ruckus, but I also want them to notice that more yells are heard as a small impish creature leaps onto a man's head, ripping the hat off it and off him, and throwing it away from. You hear a scream. In the center of the square, a woman goes flying away from a swirling dust whirlwind, landing on a pull-away court that was being set up. You see two of these figures swirling in place as people run away. More yells are heard as a small, impish creature leaps onto a man's head, ripping the hat off him and throwing it away. Into... there isn't really brush. Throwing it into another cart. An odd trill comes from it. We'll do the sound of a screech mixed with tumbling sand. Sound of a screech mixed with tumbling sand. I very much want to make them feel that sound. The sound of a screech with tumbling sand. This creature is almost made of sand, but a bit more compact than its larger whirlwind. What are they called? Friends, but not comrades. Comrades. Another imp, and yet another. Crawl onto the awnings over carts. Perfect. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is, so we've kind of got the setup. We've got the idea. Now what we're gonna do is pull up roll 20. One moment. Let me check something real fast. Perfect. I'm gonna launch that. Brilliant. Okay, so what we have set up here, I actually need to message my players. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to Oliver's. So Oliver sent me a dude. Actually, I think I may have already saved it. Area grooves to call. Yes, we have Cass's. We have Jessie sent me one as well. Her symbol. I don't know if we're using her symbol or her picture. I think we'll do this. Copy link. Nope. Save image to PCs. This is going to be Ayla. Whoops. I can't remember what kind it was. Save image. So what I do for these is I go into here, and Microsoft just has, whoops, press the wrong button, has a natural, not natural, but a very easy photo editor, if it will work. There it goes. Never had that happen before. And I just choose square and then center on the piece of her I want. So we'll do this. I don't know if Jessie wants the symbol or the character. Oh, and roll 20. I'll just show you guys what I'm typing, just for funsies. So we'll grab a screenshot. That's not the right thing. Perfect. We'll start with the symbol. I mean, with the character. Probably a pretty safe bet, but I just want to make sure. So we'll make that squared so that shows up nicely on D&D Beyond. And then let's see if, I don't think Tina ever sent me one. She did not. Okay, so I will have to check that later. Alrighty, so we've got two of our characters. I'm actually going to show you guys how I've set up Roll20 because it took me, it's a little, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little janky, but it's very useful. So what I did, delete. We have a blank one just in cases, but what I did was, we'll copy this. map and lighting. So what you can do for D&D Beyond is go to dynamic lighting, turn that on, and so basically I turned on explore mode, and what that means is once you give the character icons a once you give them a certain setting, which I'll show you in a second, that will allow them to have an aura of light, and within that aura of light will reveal certain areas. So we turn on dynamic lighting and explorer mode. The GM sees through dark areas hidden, so I have mine set to 55% so that I can just see where my players can't necessarily. So we hit save on those settings. Oh, also, this took me a lot longer than I like to admit, but the page details, you can set the number of cells that it is. So the number of cells are essentially, if you want to use the snapping option on Roll20, it's these little squares. So what we'll do is we'll go to our pictures and we will upload these guys. Not what I meant to do. I need to open the upload page. There it is. Bop. Those will load up momentarily. To call character pictures, and we're gonna drag Ayla and Cass into there. So we'll toss these two. Are we on? Objects and tokens, perfect. Why is it not dragging and dropping? There it is. Okay, that was weird why his turned so big. Yeah, so when we zoom in, we will see that we have our two little players right here. And what we're gonna do is go to layer, nope, advanced, nope, it's in settings, I'll bet you, there it is. So what we want to do is we want to turn on vision, and we want to turn on night vision, I believe it is, for, oh no, you know what, I think I saved these settings in my drive, one moment. One second. Nope, that's not it. That is also not it. I don't know where I put it. Oh well. So in these settings, you should be able to, legacy settings should be off, correct? And vision. So we'll go ahead and see if this is the correct setting. I feel like it's probably not. There was something funky that I had to do. So he has a vision of 60 feet. Everyone should. And what we'll do is copy this little boy. You can also, fun fact, in Roll20 you can just copy Control-C and Control-V. Yeah, there he is. So that's what 60 feet looks like in this area. So when a player moves them around, I also have enabled limit the field revealed for the token. Okay, cool. So I can set this to, nah, never mind. So nocturnal dimming none. We are going to have this on. There is a setting somewhere for being able to, I think it's actually in these settings up here. Under dynamic lighting, explore does not reveal areas that were revealed when explorer mode is disabled. I believe that when you enable this, it allows you to only have the person who is looking see what they've revealed. I would have to join as a player in order to do that, but I can't because I am the Dungeon Master. And this is the only account I have on here. So that's what dynamic lighting looks like. You can enable that. There are more advanced ways of doing dynamic lighting, but I am not going to look at them, frankly. So let's go ahead and change hers as well. Actually, you know what? I think it was in one of those ones I deleted. So where is she? Settings, vision. Limited field of vision, 60. You know what? That might be 60 total. Oh, it is night vision. Okay, perfect. So, it's not. Vision on, night vision on, 60 feet. Perfect. Save settings. And we'll go ahead and make this blank. Because I do want them to be a little surprised when they get somewhere. So let's do a cancel. Let's just do a new page. Bring it over here. And we'll just name this characters. Whoops. PC. Okay. Whoops. Perfect. Then we will delete them off this first one, so it will actually be blank. Alrighty, so we're gonna delete, yes. I have to switch to a new one. I can't click. Delete, yes. Delete. And we are going to set this one to daytime, so that we don't have any dynamic lighting, because it is going to be during the day for them. So what we'll do actually is go ahead and go to the map in background. We're gonna just zoom in a little bit, go over here, and we're gonna zoom in mostly because all that I really want is this square right here, this town square. I'm sure there are easier ways to do this. And we will just center that so that they can actually fight on it. Let's make this settings. Width is, so we'll make the width 35. Let's make it 50. Save settings. Perfect. And then that will give them their little square to fight in. They should have one. Okay, there are very, very faintly lines over everything. You can't really see it. So, we will go ahead and go to the objects and tokens area, copy, and toss it into here. So these guys will be ready to go when we start our session. Okay, so now that we've got the very beginnings figured out of this session, There are certain things that they need to be able to discover and uncover during all of this. So let's make this a bit bigger. Alrighty. Just put a bunch of enters so that can be more centered. We have a couple of things that we need to figure out during this. The first is some notes for Cass. So Cass is going to be talking to a some kind of Thieves Guild person from the Myriad, which is the Thieves Guild of this entire continent. So Tavasvaria, Dakal, Varshavan, as well as Galdrek technically, but Galdrek doesn't have as much of a presence for the Thieves Guild. So we need to write some notes on things that he can discover. So the Myriad, we're gonna write a little note, a little bit of notes there. So he should be able to discover that the HQ of the Thieves Guild is going to be in the capital, which is Umbra, right there. So he's gonna find out probably this session that he needs to travel to Umbra. I also have for one of the other characters, we'll actually just toss this over here. For Ayla, that evening, not that day, but that evening, she's going to get a task from the warlocks, who are, they're kind of parents to her at this point. They're not really parents, they're more like guardians to some extent. They saved her from a really bad situation, at least according to her memory, of course, and they're going to send her a dream being like, hey, we need you to do this thing. It's gonna be really easy, so you're not gonna be upset with us about it. And yeah, it's gonna be great. Task in Alnaar. So all of these should be, oh, you know what? It's probably because, oh no, it didn't. Okay, we're gonna go to here, single. There we go, perfect. Pershunj, nice. So, the warlocks appear. They task her with sending them raw fire opals. So that, oh, that night. Task in Alnaar. The warlocks appear. They task her with sending them raw fire opals because they found a person from her village, a person who doesn't exist because the village never existed, and they think they may be able to help this person with the fire opals as they've forgotten their memories. So this is just our overview. What we're gonna do is get some actual people's names up in here. Let's go to her character list. The Tieflings. I'll rename this the Warlocks because I recognize that a little bit easier. So Kai is going to be the one. Actually, let's take a look at Dream real fast and see if it's a spell he can cast. And if not, we may need to get a little spicy with how this works. Druid, Warlock, Wizard. Okay, perfect. He is a Warlock. So she is going to so let's do this. Ayla, you fall asleep, and for what seems like a while, you sleep peacefully. You sleep peacefully. a mist. Let's do, you walk through a mist. Nothing, I want to say nothing, nothing, triggering your sense of danger. That's what it's called. Although you fall asleep, and for what seems like a while, you sleep peacefully. You walk through a mist, nothing triggering your sense of danger. I don't want it to feel like there is a sense of time to this. So, with no sense of time, you feel the mist disperse. I would say mist thin and into a clearing. A boulder, I'm gonna say a rock sits in the clearing. So we have a little bit of an opportunity here. We could have Alistrai, who is the god that she follows. We could have her interrupt the dream, or maybe be in the continuation of the dream. But I don't think I want to for this first one. Maybe on the next one. Maybe the next night she gets a dream from Alistrai. But not now, I think. A hooded figure faces away from you. So I'm gonna ask her what she wants to do. But anytime she tries to walk away, do you continue forward? Anytime she tries to get away, the image appears in front of her. So basically anytime she turns around, she's going to just basically walk into the same clearing where there's this individual. It's going to kind of be a little symbolic of how she can't get away from these warlocks, and they're always watching her, even though they aren't necessarily always watching her. Yeah. Oh, sorry. The image appears in front of her. And then we'll do a when she, let's do a little italics when she approaches the individual. So when she approaches the individual, you look into a familiar face. Let's take a look at her backstory real fast. Just a real quick peek-see. Call group. PC stuff. Ayla. So Ayla's backstory. Let's take a look. It took several weeks for her body to heal. She noticed the warlocks were very secretive and seemed very powerful. They talked to her nearly every day, encouraged her to train. So the tieflings. Wakes up in the there she is. Okay. Kai specializes in mechanical magics and was the one to repair Ayla's body. They weren't able to find anyone else. Searching for answers. Shared what they knew of Paladin Group. So it doesn't really have a personality for either of them listed, which means that I get full control. So I'm going to make him, so we're gonna do Kai. And Kai is, of course, the tiefling, the male tiefling of the pair that found her. I assume that they're in Varshavon, but she has not confirmed that. So when she approaches the individual, you look into a familiar face. Kai smiles, I want to say gently, up at her. Just because they're supposed to be welcoming to some extent. They're supposed to be a little bit too nice. They want her to do stuff for them, preferably out of her own free will, so that they don't have to mess with her memory in order to get her to do stuff. So when she approaches the individual, you look into a familiar face. Kai smiles gently up at you, the hood falling back on his shoulders. Here he's going to be like, I know you were on break, but we kind of need your help. There's somebody in trouble. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So when she approaches the individual, you look into a familiar face. Kai smiles gently up at you. If I can type. The hood falling back on his shoulders. Hi, Ayla. I know you wanted a break, but we have someone who was attacked, oops, by the same people that hurt us, and they can't remember anything. They just... So, they don't know what the symbol of these paladins were. So finding the symbol would be pretty big. So I don't know if I want to have the symbol. They just have memories. They just have the vague idea of fire stuck in their heads. In their head. And I can't remember anything. They just have the vague idea of fire stuck in their head. So I do want to separate this slightly, just because she's probably gonna have questions. And they can't remember anything. They just have the vague idea of fire stuck in their head. And she's gonna be like, what do you want me to do about it? So we're gonna put... There are fire opals in Alnaar. We need some raw ones in order to... We need some raw ones, in order to fix their memory. we might be able to bring back their memories. But we need some components. There are fire opals in Alnaar. We need some raw ones in order to fix their memory. We have to call in this favor in order to learn more about the people who destroyed both of our lives. That kind of vibe. I think the rest will be pretty play by ear. So we'll do this here. I think the rest of that nighttime dream will be played by ear. So we'll do 3. Control Z. We have a couple of things to think about. Oriana wants out of the city. She wants to get as far away as possible, which will be pretty easy. I think the first session will be mostly them trying to get these fire opals. So we'll stop there for a second, just because I want to go to the Myriad. The only way to see the leader is to join the guild. Perfect. And I think that's all they can really find out from there. We have to call in this favor in order to learn more about the people who destroyed both of our lives. So what I think that they will have to do is they will have to probably go into an abandoned mine. Either because I think the mine was probably abandoned because there's things in there that are a little bit too much for average people to handle. But also the main vein of fire opals had dried up, so it probably isn't worth going back in to kill all of whatever is in there. So yeah, so we will do info that they need to find. There is an abandoned mine that may have some left in there. The main, my brain isn't working. The main vein dried up, or main vein has been picked clean. And there are monsters there that weren't worth the time to defeat because the main vein has been picked clean. Perfect. Alrighty. So far, we have the intro for each of the characters, what they're all doing in this city square. We have essentially a call to action for them attacking or defending people from these 2 dust elementals and several dust methods. I think we're gonna start with 3 or 4. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. Sorry. And then we have the Myriad, which is the Thieves Guild HQ. This is info that one of our characters, Cass, is going to be able to find. HQ, this Thieves Guild is in Umbra, and the only way to see the leader is to join the actual guild. I would be pretty certain that they probably wouldn't let their leader just talk to strangers unless the leader wanted to. We have a dream for Ayla, who is our character who has a timeline that she remembers that was placed into her brain, and then a timeline that was actual reality. And she's going to essentially approach this character that is just sitting on a rock in a clearing, and this hooded figure, if she tries to walk away from them, every time that she tries to leave, she's just going to come into that same clearing again where that hooded figure is until she talks to the figure. They're gonna be like, hey, remember how you said you wanted a break? Well, we need a favor from you, and it's gonna help somebody. So yeah, you gotta help us because your moral compass tells you you should. And then this is the baseline of that conversation, and then from that point on we'll probably improv it. There is info that they could find saying that there is an abandoned mine that may have some fire opals left in there. There are monsters in there that haven't been worth the time to defeat, mainly because the main vein has been picked clean. And then we just need to come up with some monsters for this mine. All right, let's pull up some stuff real fast. NPCs, monsters. I need to get my monsters cards. Hang on one second. D&D, DMing, monster cards. NPCs, monster cards, perfect. Alright, and we're gonna paste another one in here, and let's go ahead and take a look at some Underdark creatures. Maybe they're just, Underdark 5e. Maybe they're just creatures that got a little too close to the surface and it paid off because they now have control of this mine. Alrighty. Beholder, Black Pudding, Bullet, the Land Shark, Carrion Qualler, Trool, Cloaker, Cyclops, Dow, Darkling. Did not mean to pin that. Unpin. We'll duplicate it, and then we'll look at another set. Monster Fandom, 15 most powerful. We don't need the most powerful, we just need some. Let's see if any of these have pictures, because that's how my brain works. It does! Yes! The Roper. Okay, let's make a little list. Let's make a teeny tiny little list. So we've got Roper. We have Nakpa. Nightwalker. Ooh. I kind of like this because the big theme in this campaign is going to be not only dreams and nightmares, of course, along with that, but also demons and devils, infernal fiends beings. So fiendish beings. So we'll do Nightwalker. I kind of like that a lot. So maybe like we could do shadow creatures that we create. Let's take a look at that. So let's do shadow creatures. I kind of want to look up some... I kind of want to look up some, like, historically acknowledged shadow creatures. So let's do shadow creatures in history. Shadow person. Ooh. Also known as a shadow figure or black mass is the perception of a patch of shadow as a living humanoid figure and interpreted as the presence of a spirit or other spiritual entity. History and folklore. Let's take a look at that. Scientific explanations in popular culture. So we'll maybe look at popular culture, but let's look at history and folklore first. A number of religions, legends, and belief systems describe supernatural energies. Yeah, it's too late. I've already set my heart on shadow creatures. Islamic jinn and Chakta Nalusa Chito. Chakta have stories about shadow beings. Nalusa Chito, also known as Impa Shilip, was the Soul Eater, a great black being. Soul Eater. Let's just copy over Soul Eater. Nalusa Chito. Soul Eater. What? If individuals... Oh! That's so fun! That is so fun. Okay, my version of fun as a DM is a little different from, like, you know, actual fun. But... it's a lot of fun to make people kind of question their reality a little bit. So if they allowed evil thoughts or depression to enter their mind. So what I think I'll do is, like, at the beginning of this little section is ask my players, what are your surface thoughts right now? And then we'll kind of get a feel, we'll do surface thoughts, emotions right now. And then we'll kind of get a feel for if any of them are feeling like spooked a little bit, and then if so, we can have somebody like either possess them or them feel like a coldness in their chest that everyone else doesn't. It'll be interesting. Resembled a man, but very small eyes and long pointed ears. Frightens hunters. Shadow-like beings, so this is a bunch of them. Hashab Okwa Huiga. Grass water drop was believed to have a connection to what is termed the will-o'-the-wisp. Let's take a look at will-o'-the-wisps after this. Only its heart is visible and only at night. Leads astray anyone who looks at it. Interesting. Every man has a shalambish, the outside shadow, which always followed him, and Shilap, the inside shadow or ghost, which after death goes to the land of ghosts. It was supposed to remain upon the earth and wander endlessly about its former home to frighten surviving friends. Interesting. Could differentiate between them. Is a creature that is neither man nor beast. Well, I would attempt to pronounce that, but I feel like Kasheho Tapolo. I wonder how they pronounce their O's and their A's. I will look that up later. Off stream time. Is a creature that is neither man nor beast. While having the legs and hooves of a deer, its body is that of a man. This is probably what the... What was it? The shadow... Underdark creatures. 1 second. what this guy was based off of. Where is he? This is not it. Huh. This guy, where is he? This guy, the Night Walker. It's probably what that was based off of. Head and face small and shriveled. Yeah, it has to be. The hooves and everything. There's no way it's not. I wonder why they changed the name. When hunters go near the swamp it inhabits, it sneaks behind them to call loudly before quickly fleeing. It does not harm man, it takes delight in their fright. Yells a sound that sounds like a woman's scream. Okay. Okay. And we're gonna put Nightwalker actually as a subtext of that, just because the everything in D&D is a little bit more boring than reality, kind of. Like at least legends, I should say, reality. So his head and his face are small and shriveled, and it said a person who looks at it will be visited by evil. Interesting. Oh, that would be so fun to have that as a thing, and then Ayla is visited by the goddess that she doesn't know whether is good or evil. It would kind of create a little tug and pull there. Okay, so it does not harm man. I kind of wanted to harm them. Just because, whoops. It's necessary for them to fight something, and so especially Cass, so nobody at the beginning is gonna know that Cass is a werewolf. So Cass is definitely going to have a tug and pull between showing them that he's a werewolf, when people have treated him so poorly before because of it, or like keeping his normal form. So we'll see how that goes. Birds of the dark. Okay, this is a different place, so we'll toss that off for now. Alrighty. Help popularize modern beliefs in shadow people. Oh, the Islamic jinn. Oh, I already have it pulled up right here. Also romanized as jinn or anglicized as genies, with the broader meaning of spirit or demon. They're invisible creatures in early pre-Islamic Arabian religious systems and later in Islamist mythology and theology. They're accountable for their deeds and can be either believers or unbelievers, depending on whether they accept God's guidance. Neither innately evil or innately good. Let's Control F Shadow. Yes. Jinn appear in Iranian horror movies despite a belittling of the popular understanding of jinn by an increasing number of fundamentalist reformists. The protagonist is afraid of the jinn, who are completely veiled and concealed and intrude into her life frequently. The shadow, under the shadow. In the end, she is forced by the guards to take on a chador, an outer garment or open cloak worn by many women. Perfect. And thus becomes like the jinn she feared. Interesting. I can understand why that might be a little controversial. The jinn symbolize the Islamic regime and their intrusion into private life. So Shadow 1. whoops. Shadow of the Wall. A disseminate treatise on the occult deals with subjugating devils and jinn by incantation, charms, and the combination of written and recited formula to obtain supernatural powers. Distinguished. I think that this is getting a little bit too much into oh, this is what we're already reading. Getting a little bit too much into like fantastical instead of creepy. So I think we're gonna pass on that one. I want it to be creepy. So show help popularize modern beliefs in shadow people. During the show, they were encouraged to submit drawings of shadow people. Okay, Archbell shadow people. Web archive. Never mind. Not worth the risk. Heidi Hollis published her first book on the topic of shadow people. Dark silhouettes with human shapes in profile that flicker in and out of peripheral vision. Okay. I'm just gonna double check that the spacing is single. Yes, it is. Okay. Claims that people have reported the figures attempting to jump on their chests and choke them. That kind of has to do a little bit with the idea of sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis, in history at least, has been like essentially iconized by demons sitting on people's chests and them not being able to breathe and not being able to move. So it kind of adds to that story a little bit. She believes figures to be negative aliens that can be repelled by various memes, yes, including invoking the name of Jesus. Although participants in online discussions devoted to paranormal and supernatural topics describe them as menacing, there are others who don't agree that they are either evil, helpful, or neutral. And some speculate that shadow people may be the extra-dimensional inhabitants of another universe. It'd be cool. So when we're talking about the Great Wheel cosmology in D&D, we are talking about the prime material plane. Actually, let me just pull it up real fast, because we have that option. Great Wheel cosmology. So when we're talking about the Great Wheel cosmology, we are talking about this bad boy. So the prime material plane is here in the center, and then around the prime material plane is our divine gate, which is essentially what keeps gods and super powerful beings, even more powerful than a level 20 mortal, from crossing onto the material plane and basically taking over, wreaking havoc, whatever they would like to do. Just as a note, this does mean that smaller, less powerful, not necessarily smaller, but less powerful creatures can cross between the two planes. So we're talking about the mirrors of the material plane, the Feywild and the Shadowfell. I kind of want to do, I don't know if I did any research already on the Shadowfell. Okay, let's take a look at the Shadowfell. Is one of the planes of existence. The demi-plane of shadow exists sort of a counterpart to the Feywild in the sense that it was a reflection or echo of the prime material plane. It's full of decay and death. So we're probably going to, let's do shadow creatures. Let's do Shadowfell as a kind of subsection of that. And in Shadowfell, we're gonna take a look at these. Whoop. So we're gonna definitely have necrotic energy as part of that. Necrotic. Undead. Consider only a demi-plane. Interesting. Later revised versions of the Great Wheel cosmology. Shadowfell is considered an echo of the prime material. The lack of color and light, no sun, moon, or stars adorned the vault of the inky black sky, and all things looked as if the color had been leached out, leaving nothing but black and white, which were more like gray is what we're looking for. A light source only illuminated half the distance it normally would. So maybe like this area is kind of has magical dimness is what it should be, dimness. Because magical darkness would be, you wouldn't be able to turn on any lights in there. So magical dimness in theory would be just basically a shadow over everything and make things be at a smaller light. Less predictable. Spells with light or fire are prone to failure. I like that actually. Let's do another bop. Shadow spells were enhanced. Perfect. Even a light source that only put out a shadowy illumination. 5 times. Interesting. Okay, I think that's good for the Shadowfell influencing. All right. Extreme ghost stories. Online culture is developed around a specific character people claim to have seen. It's a tall man dressed in black clothing, his face obscured by a wide-brimmed hat shadows. The Hat Man. What is the Hat Man? Hat Man. Shared by dreamers around the world. Who or what is the Hat Man? It's not a new phenomenon. For as long as written records have existed, people described a frightening nighttime vision that paralyzes them with fear and seems to suck the breath right out of them, often by pressing directly upon their chest. So this kind of adds to the my brain isn't working. Adds to the idea of the sleep paralysis demon. Sudden, unexpected, unexplained nocturnal death syndrome, or SUNS. However, further research has concluded that SUNS death may have a different root cause known as the Brugada syndrome, a genetic condition which affects people of descent typified by irregular heartbeats. As with the spate of cases with interested Adler, an increase in the risk of sudden death. That is absolutely wild. Interesting. Nightmare death syndrome is what it's called in the Philippines, Thailand, and Laos. Adler interviewed age-long refugees living in Stockton, California. The group all testified to experiencing common nightmares. The Absolg, a malevolent force that came during the night. The Hmong were not the first group to have such a record. Canadian Inuit, the word... Oh no, I don't think I can pronounce that. I just don't know. I don't even know where to begin. Described this awake but paralyzed feeling, while the Japanese called it kanishibari. In Ukamaniri. That's probably pronounced wrong. In the field of sleep research, this experience is termed sleep paralysis. Yes. Well, we already know what sleep paralysis is, to some degree. At least the joke. The Hat Man may be subconscious reworkings of figures from popular horror films. The thing that came to mind was Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street. The psychology professor says, this notion that you can be attacked when you're asleep, that's when you're vulnerable, and of course Krueger wears a hat. That's interesting. I've actually never seen Nightmare on Elm Street, which means that my experiences are probably inherently different from other people who may have seen it. Pros neurological theories for why some people hallucinate shadowy figures during sleep paralysis. Rapid eye movement, REM, sleep often creates the most emotionally charged dreams, so our brain paralyzes our body to ensure we don't hurt ourselves. Sometimes we wake up mentally while still under the spell of REM paralysis, and the vivid dreams of sleep can spill over into emerging wakefulness. That's so interesting. So, fun fact, I am plagued by nightmares, which is not fun. But my sibling used to sleepwalk a lot. So I wonder if the difference in our two experiences is because our brain processes REM sleep and our charged dreams more differently. They don't sleepwalk anymore, but it's just so interesting. Okay, so the Hat Man we figured out. Scientific explanations. We don't care about science today. We're talking about D&D. The Nightmare is a 2015 documentary that discusses the causes of sleep paralysis as seen through extensive interviews with participants, which are reenacted by actors. It proposes that such cultural phenomenon as alien abduction, the near-death experience, and shadow people can, in many cases, be attributed to sleep paralysis. The real-life horror film debuted at the Sunday Film. Okay. Shadow people, described in Shadowman, in the novel Dawn dies at the end. When they kill a person, that person is retroactively erased from existence, and history is rewritten as though they were never born. Interesting. This was something that was kind of brought up by someone in our last stream, and essentially they were talking about how in one of their games they had been doing a fight, and the entire fight they had been imagining that they were taking healing potions, but in reality it was their friend who they didn't know existed, who, like, and their memories did not exist, was healing them, but it was remembered as health potions while they fought. So that's so interesting. That's a fun little thing. Shadow People depicts a sleep study where they report seeing a shadowy intruder before dying in their sleep. Okay, so maybe there are patients who report and then they end up dying eventually. The stories claim to be based on true events. Interesting. The subject, Skylar, is plagued by shadow people, sometimes called phase people, and sprays of mist to unveil them in the refractions. It's the redirection of a wave as it passes from one medium to another. Interesting. He also builds weapons to fight them, blah blah blah. Deep Sleep and its sequels, shadow people exist and lurk in lucid dreams. Players who realize they are asleep can be paralyzed and possessed, and the character's dream self will be turned into a shadow person. So maybe, let's say in theory, one of them gets knocked unconscious. This would be fun to include. So let's copy that over. Bop. So basically, if someone falls unconscious, they are possessed. Let's write that note down. That's a fun little tidbit that we could include. The Shadow Man had a shadow person living under his bed. The episode portrayed the Shadow Man as the Hat Man. Appearance commonly ascribed to shadow people. Added in the mythology that shadow people can kill humans but will not harm those under whose bed they live. Huh. Interesting. I don't know if I will include that just because that is outside of the purview of the encounter we're looking at, but that is interesting. I do like that. Oh, did not mean to click that. The Will-o'-the-Wisp. Ghost light seen over bogs. So this was when we were looking at, I think it was this one or this one that was kind of like the Will-o'-the-Wisp. That name, I don't know if I want to use this when we're talking about shadow people. I think inherently will-o'-the-wisps are meant to have light to catch your attention. So I think we will leave that alone. Alrighty, so Darklings, cursed fae exiled from their home plane to live out lives as thieves and assassins below the surface world, explode when you kill them. Nah. Dark mantle. The squid. Squids are cute? What is wrong with you, bruh? Death kiss. When a beholder has a bad dream about losing all its blood, it manifests as a death kiss. Nightmarish creatures. Huh. Death tyrant, deep gnome, Darrow, dire troll, doppelganger, Dragolth of a drow, and Globriz demon, gifted by the Globriz D&D 5e. Are those the spider dudes? They are not spider dudes. I lied. Yeah, I'm honestly pretty uninterested in anything but shadow dudes. So I guess we just make our own, huh? Sick. Okay, shadow creatures in history. Not shadowy. Shadow-ish? Shadow dragon? Not shadowy. Shade? Oh no, these are trending pages, not shadowy peoples. It's okay. Light. Okay, let's zoom in so we can see at least a little bit of the picture. Boldak. Color and darkness. Ooh. Course vampire. Darkling. Dark mantle. Death dog. We'll take a look at that just in case he's devoured our home. Forgeries. I don't want to do ghosts. I want them to be wispy, you know? Not undead, I think. Night Haunt. Nightwalker. Shade. Shadow. Dark one. Shadow Dragon. Shadow Mastiff. Shadow Slime. Shadow Snake. Shadow Staff. Sorrow Sworn. Interesting. Alright. Now that we have literally a million of these. Brief history of the Shadow People YouTube. What are shadow creatures? Here, we'll take this and do a new window. And then Oop. People have seen them and they have similar descriptions. Explanation ones they need to be ruled out. Do these explanations cover all of these sightings? And if not, what are they? While the notion of these beings is not new, the term shadow people was used as the title of a radio show in the 1950s. Origins. Are shadow entities evil? Demonic, maybe. Ghostly, no, for me, I think. Some show as black mist that shrouds, some seem to be animals. One with a cloak. There are rarely facial features, simply an outline of a form. The Hat Man. We already read about the Hat Man. We already read about them in sleep paralysis. Manifested energy. The alien connection. And we already know about the scientific view. I think we're just gonna make up our own dudes. I think so. No. Maybe. No. Undead, no. Nightwalker? Shade? Humanoids who had merged with the essence of shadow stuff. Okay, maybe that's our big bad in this scenario at least. Shadow. Oh, hello Edwin. I'm sorry I didn't see your chat. So we are. Oh wait, my chat box is wackadoodle. Hang on one second. Properties. It looks like it's just gonna take its time to show up. One moment. Hang on, I'm struggling. Today we are working on encounters for stuff. So what we did earlier was we did a little bit of an intro for everybody about what they're doing in the city square of Alnaar. We did a little intro for an introduction, I think, to demons for most of them. So we got some dust mephits and some dust elementals that we made up. Some information that Cass can find about the Myriad, and then a dream sequence for Ayla regarding the Warlocks. The info about the Abandoned Mind, and then we're going to create a scenario. I think when I was looking up creatures of the Underdark, I saw shadow creatures and I saw what is this boy? What is he? The Nightwalker, and I was like, him. So we're making shadow creatures right now, and we're looking for inspiration or creatures of shadow that already exist in D&D that we can take and just use. So yeah, let me figure out this thing real fast. Aha. That would be why. Okay, let me... I don't like how this looks. Hang on one second. Un momento. Add a browser. I don't have it. Hang on one second. Let me copy something. There it is. Copy. Alrighty, there we go. This should do for now. Okay. What level are the players? They're going to be 7th level. So for the dust methods and stuff, I will actually pull those up real fast. To call group. And, whoops. NPCs, monsters, dust elementals, dust methods. So this is what we created earlier. These dust elementals, which are a mix of air elementals and earth elementals. We're gonna have 2 of them there. They're CR6, which it's CR5 technically. I don't think they're gonna be as bad as CR6, but we shall see. And then dust methods, which are challenge rating 1/2, but they're going to multiply and split among themselves. They are going to get a long rest after this little excursion, I would say. And that's what we're working on right now, is the next bit that they can do, which is going to be looking for those fire opals, those raw fire opals. So shades, gaining the ability to leap from shadow to shadow, create shadowy duplicates of themselves, and even become entirely visible. Okay, so let's do a little list here. Color in darkness. We have Night Haunt that we'll take a look at. We have Night Walker. Lovely. We have the Shade. Shadow, Incorporeal, Undead. We don't want Undead. We want them to be shadowy, not undeady. So, Dark One. Race of Humanoids, no. Shadow Dragon. We'll put it on there, just to see if there's anything that we can find from them that we want to use. Shadow Mastiff. Shadow Hounds were massive dogs of darkness. Okay. Alrighty. Shadar Kai are the elves from the Shadowfell. Oh, they are. They don't look very shadowy though. Hang on. They do not appear to be very shadowy in nature. Fae like the rest of their elven kin, but they exist in a state between life and death, thanks to being transformed by the Shadowfell's grim energy. I don't think that they are shadowy enough for me. Personality, combat, society. Shadow curse, doomed to lose their souls in the dark depths of this Shadowfell. Their souls were only loosely bound to their bodies, so when they were dazed, stunned, knocked unconscious, or otherwise close to death, part of their soul risked being sent to the plane of shadow. Parts of his or her soul, why not just say they, bro? Was weakened and thus less able to resist the next time their soul was drawn away. That's so interesting. They don't have any particular abilities that are unique to them. They do have combat stuff. Okay, so hidden by shadows, about all that we get from them, which I think we're gonna find elsewhere as well. Shadow slime, I didn't know existed before today. It's a type of ooze. I love it. Shadow slime. So I don't know if we necessarily want them to be able to eradicate whatever's in this mine, but we do want them to be able to defeat enough of these things that they are able to get out with the fire opals. So they need time to get fire opals and get out. So I'm not sure exactly how many we want to put into this area. Shadow snakes. They had connection to Shadowfell. So they are little shadowy snakes. Combat, ambush predators. I don't think we're gonna get anything interesting from them, frankly. Shadow Staff was a unique immortal servant created by either Mr. or Azuth from a willing formal mortal. These guys are gonna be, yeah, neutral. Not undead and could not be harmed or influenced by attacks designed for such creatures. Aww. Thank you for following, Mr. Tronky. What a delightful name. Shadow staffs could become completely insubstantial at will, passing through the smallest cracks and opening in any surface. While in this form, both normal and magical fire or heat cause them greater harm. Thank you for coming up with my first character today. What part? Was it the Shadow Kai that Edwin mentioned earlier? Dude, that big. That looks good. All substantial saddle staves attacked with weapons. We don't care about weapons. We're here into the ghosty, not ghosty, but the shadowy stuff. Enchanted staff could vanish into the staff. While inside the staff, they could heal themselves by taking charges. Ooh, that's fun. Okay, so we'll take a look at that. Sorrowsworn was a creature that preyed upon feelings of grief and loss. That's gonna be fun. A wraith is an undead creature. Drain the life, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I have won my guild once in their party now, but a Bard College of Creation with Monster Tamer subclass. Nice! This will actually be me learning the game as a new player. That's so fun! I was actually thinking, so I play a game called Valorant, and I was gonna mention that in the evenings, Arizona time, because that's where I am. I'm gonna be playing Valorant in the future and other games. I also want to play Ori in the not the Will of the Wisps, and the Blind Forest. The Will of the Wisps is the second one. So I have a bunch of people on the game who ask me where my name comes from, and of course I'm like, Dungeons and Dragons. And a lot of them are like, I actually want to play, but I never have anyone to play with. And I was like, maybe I should do like a character creation stream. Do you think that would be fun? I think that would be fun, personally, in the far future. I just think it might be useful for people to know the basics and learn how to create their character. I think that would be a bunch of fun. And it would be also cool because everybody who's a DM or who has played before would get to help in chat and help people like with their questions and stuff. I think it would be a lot of fun. So yeah, and maybe I'll create like a Discord or something that people can join and we can do fun stuff like that. I think that would be pretty cool. Just in the future, maybe not right now, but in the future. I'm thinking Wood Elf for my Bard Monster Tamer. Yeah, Wood Elf is fun because they have extra speed, which is really nice. They also have, I think it's like hiding in natural phenomena like snow and stuff, so that'd be pretty cool. So yeah, I think that's really fun. Bard. So Monster Tamer is a subclass of Bard? In what book? Monster Tamer Bard. Beast Tamer. Pathfinder. Are you multi-classing? 5e. Perchance? Of the Fey Beast Tamer. Monster Tamer is usually a subclass of Ranger. Okay, and multi. Okay, perfect. So you're multi-classing into... You're doing a Bard and a Ranger. Cool. I've heard of the Monster Tamer Ranger. I think that one's so fun. I think it was Matthew Colville, who was running a game where one of his players was had a what are they called? Displacer beast, the like panther-like animals. I think those are really cool. Okay, Wraith are, well, we might find some interesting stuff to use from there. So, I don't think I want to use the Nightwalker just because that is a big boy, and I don't think that this cavern's gonna be that huge. It's probably gonna be more of a mine situation. And yeah, I think that will probably not use him directly, but we might use some stuff from the Nightwalker, because where is he? Look at that boy. I love him. I'm gonna look at a smaller wyvern dragon, that creatures that can help me jump higher. That's awesome. That's so fun. Okay. Let's take a look. So, Collar and Darkness, let's start here. Ghostly collection of the minds of a large group of victims who died in terror at the same time. Okay, maybe not that, but let's look at abilities. Psionic powers, in addition to the dreadful ability to steal the essence of dead, sleeping, or otherwise incapacitated beings from within as far as 10 yards. When a caller stole the essence of another creature, it grew temporarily more powerful and a new face emerged. I don't think we want to use this. Goodbye, Color and Darkness. I don't find anything of that particularly interesting. Matt Colville is currently working on a monster book called Flea Mortals. It will have some extra companion rules that he also used for that Displacer Beast. Oh, cool! That's so fun. I have his, I can't remember, Strongholds and Followers book? I think that's what it's titled. It's currently covered by a bag that's displayed on my shelves. The title, at least from here, that I can see. So Nighthaunt, the weakest and smallest type of nightshade. Open link. What is a nightshade? Large undead creatures. I don't like the Shadowfell being an undead place because I personally don't think that the Feywild is I mean, it is full of life, but I don't think it's the I don't think it's the antithesis of undead, if that makes sense. Well, I guess, because even the plants are alive. So a dead person being alive versus like everything else being alive. I don't know if I want the Shadowfell to be undead. Like necrotic maybe? Shadowy maybe? But undead? I don't know. We'll see. Nightshades were all different in form, but they were often said to appear to be made of darkness. Wahahaha. Composed as much of evil as of darkness. Radiated an aura of desecration. Consecrated or hallowed area would suppress the aura, but at the cost of being suppressed in turn. Nightshades were averse to natural sunlight. They understood all languages, but communicated only by telepathy. Nightcrawlers, nighthawks, nightwalkers, nightwings. Alright. Nightcrawlers. Purple worms, but were covered in solid black chitinous armor. They were approximately 100 feet long. Type of dead, did not eat to eat, drink, or sleep. Contagion, deeper darkness. They could summon undead creatures each night. Eh. Okay, we already have Night Haunt on our list. This is the Night Haunt, right? No, Night Haunt is like right here. Yes. There was a CR Shadow Beast in the Tome of Beasts, if you have it. The Tome of Beasts, I don't have that. Okay, so that's not an official book, but it is a nice little thingamaling. Okay, what's it called? The Shadow Beast. Beast 5, yeah. The Shadow Beast can move through other creatures and objects. Ooh. This would be... Oh, a fae! Interesting. I love things that kind of subvert expectations to some degree. I love creatures that you would, like, it makes sense that they're there, but you just wouldn't expect it, if that makes sense. So, it can move through other creatures and objects, has innate spell casting, fear, and telekinesis. Shadow Beast has advantage on saving throws against spells. I guess because it's Fae, but I would probably take the Fae part out of it. The Shadow Beast has disadvantage on attack rolls in light. Were the players told how many of those fire opals they must get? I did not write that down, but honestly, if she doesn't ask, I'm kind of okay with that just being up in the air. I don't think that you can quantify it quite exactly. It would probably have to be quantified in weight. So maybe like a half pound to a pound if she asks for specifics. But I doubt she will, and then just whatever they get will be fine. I'm not too stuck on the details. This is honestly, this whole thing is a ploy to get her to do stuff for them. Even though she asked for a break from them, basically. So they're basically just trying to manipulate her at this point. And honestly, I don't know if they would have put that much thought into this, thinking, we're just trying to get her to do something for us. I mean, who cares? kind of thing. So, I think this is a really good base for everything. Shadow push. The Shadow Beast buffets an opponent. That's fun. I like that. Okay, this is a good base for everything. So we'll put that. Bop. Alrighty. Nightshade, undead creatures, Nightwing. Or type of Nightshade, horrific undead creatures. Unlike other, like other Nightshades. Nightwings in particular could drain the magic from items, but with a touch. Oops. They had a number of spell-like abilities as well. They could mimic the spells Contagion, Deeper Darkness, each night. Additionally, once time each night, a Nightwing could summon a number of undead. So I kind of like the draining the magic. So we'll put the... I think we decided against the Night Hunt, but the Night Walker, we'll toss that there. We looked at Nightshade already. Nightwalker was a type of Nightshade, a sentient undead. Am I good? I'm losing it, guys. I'm losing it. Must have hit the... There it is. Perfect. Nightwalker. Type of Nightshade from the plane of Shadow. It was unnatural, malicious, and it took delight in the corruption and suffering of others. Nice. We love to see that. It was a creature of both death and shadows. Because if it's a set number, you can set the encounter around get X fire opals before the monsters do Y. You're right. Edwin, your brain is humongous. Maybe we need like 5. 5 is a good number. 4, 5, 4, 3? The magic number 3? 3 is the magic number. Alrighty. That is a fantastic thing. So get X fire opals before the whoops, close. Accidentally pressed something. Before the monsters do Y. I like that a lot. Alright, took delight in the corruption and suffering of others. A Nightwalker, but I've never seen or heard one so large. Terror lives in its eyes and death in its hands. This foe is beyond your companions, perhaps beyond even me. They are lost, human, as is the battle. They are lost, human. The dragon Frilanastus. Okay, we're the shades of extremely strong-willed and evil mortals, whose ancient and unyielding will and malice allowed them to hold their corporeal shape. A Nightwalker's body looked as if it was made of shadow stuff with a vaguely humanoid form. They're about the size of the house, but usually no taller than 20 feet, and their bodies were smooth and hairless. Some scholars think that I see the thing about the negative energy plane is that you have in the cosmology. So these are all of the positive planes and these are all of the negative planes. So the idea of the Shadowfell and the negative plane being based on death, in my opinion, is a little wonk because you have a ton of life in the negative planes, all these guys down here. Do a lot of them literally trade souls? Yes, but that doesn't mean that they are all dead. There's a lot of demons and they're all alive. So I don't think that the negative planes have, are necessarily death intensive, if that makes sense. Like there might be a lot of death, but it's not like the undead are super there, except for in a couple of them. There was a chance they would be killed outright, or more unfortunately sucked within and replaced with a Nightwalker. Number of Nightwalkers in the Shadowfell could be attributed to connection between it and the negative energy plane. Bodax. Okay. They are capable of turning people into Bodax through the use of a ritual that warps the void energies. The ritual would not work on any other plane. Let's look at the stats of a Nightwalker. Bruh. That is just... What book is the Nightwalker from? Whatever. Okay, so... Okay, let's do... That's a fun one. Must succeed on con save or take necrotic damage and grant the Nightwalker advantage on attack rolls until the start of its next turn. We take away the undead, we don't care. Life Eater. Dies and can't be revived. No. I say no. Enervating Focus. Target makes a saving throw or its hit point maximum is reduced. Okay, we can rock and roll with that. I think we just unitalic these because we're gonna be moving them anyway. Finger of Doom, the Finger of Doom. The Nightwalker points at a creature it can see within 300 feet. They succeed on a wisdom save or become frightened. Creature is also paralyzed. I think this is too powerful. Too powerful for the encounter that we're looking at. Most shadow creatures have vulnerability to do with sunlight, so maybe if you burn a fire opal either with a flame or magic fire, it sheds light that counts as sunlight. Players could burn the fire opals to get benefits of survive, but they would have to gather more to get to 5. I love it, Edwin. I don't know if they'll think of that, but I love it. I love it a lot. That's really cool. Alright, Nightwalker, done. The Night Haunt. Night Haunts were said to somewhat resemble a gargoyle. Thoroughly malicious creatures that took pleasure in the destruction of the good and innocent. Night Haunts radiated a desecrating aura. Harass whoops. Did not mean to do that. Preferred to harass well-organized or stronger opponents from a distance with the spell-like abilities, often using deeper darkness and invisibility to cause confusion. I don't know if this is relevant for us right now. Alright, shades are humanoids. Okay, let's do... Oops, took it away. Shade 5E. No, not shadow. Shade, bro. Search only for shade. Shadow, but they don't have shade. There it is. Okay. Vulnerabilities to Radiant. Whoops. Necrotic makes sense. Special trait can move through space while in dim, or it can hide as a bonus action. While in sunlight, the shade has disadvantage on attack rolls, which we were already kind of aware of. But strength is reduced to 0, otherwise the reduction lasts until the target finishes a rest. If a non-evil humanoid dies from this attack, a new shade rises from the corpse. The shade can envelop a willing creature. That creature can't use its actions until the end of its next turn. I don't like that. They drive to seek a physical anchor to a physical body to anchor to. Unable to possess or inhabit new bodies, will attempt to meld with willing hosts, turning their host body into the same shadow material that constitutes the shade's form. I don't think that I like anything aside from the vulnerability and the space and stuff. Okay. Shade, let's take a look. Yeah, nothing else interesting about the shade. Shadow dragons were evil, true dragons that were either native to the Shadowfell or transformed by years spent there. Shadow dragons were crafty and devious, eclipsing even red dragons in their mental capabilities, and were on par with gold dragons, the smartest of the metallic dragons. Abilities. Shadow dragons were physically weak compared to other dragons. For example, even at Grey Worm stage, shadow dragons were, in regards of physical strength, below a white dragon. Shadow dragons sharp hearing and sight. Cone of Shadows. Necrotic damage, probably. Magic. Combat. Strong spell resistances. Nothing super fun about Shadow Dragon, so let's do Shadow Dragon 5e. Bro. That's super readable. Open image in new tab. Okay. Shadow Breath, Claw Bar, my bark. Claw Bite. Where did bark come from? Sunlight sensitivity. While in sunlight, we already know that. Shadow Stealth, Living Shadow. While in dim light or darkness, the dragon has resistance to damage. No, I don't think that's relevant for our purposes this time. Alright, the Shadow Pup. Had a body of a large dog standing a bit over 2 feet at the shoulder. Abilities. In anything less than full daylight, a Shadow Mastiff can blend with the shadows. Shadow Mastiff's bark was as bad as a bat. When it barked, bayed, or howled, all beings in 300 feet held firm. Okay. Only evil outsiders and those who'd already heard it in the last day were immune. Shadow Mastiffs live in 5 to 12. Bright light could kill their pups. habitats. They hailed from the plane of shadow. Languages. Although a shadow mastiff. They could understand common. Usages. Shadow mastiff whelps could be sold. Oh, man. It was believed that shadow mastiffs resulted from dogs that were killed by undead shadows and then transported to the demi-plane shadow to be with others of their kind. So there's this fun this fun myth about a dog that, like, you bury a dog first in a graveyard to prevent, like, so the first being that is buried there is essentially cursed to wander the graveyard and protect it. And what people used to do is they'd bury a dog first so that the dog would stay and protect everyone. So let's see, dog graveyard myth. When a new churchyard was opened, it was believed that the first person buried there had to guard it against the devil. In order to prevent a human soul from having to perform such a duty, a black dog was buried in the north part of the churchyard as a substitute. I wonder if they killed the dog. Probably. That'd be sad, though. Appearance. Sacrificial guardian. In the 19th century, people believed that it had once been custom to bury a dog alive. Oh no! Bury it alive? When a new churchyard was opened, it was believed that the first person buried there. Yeah. Kilgrim, the Devil's Bridge. A folktale of a Devil's Bridge type is also an example of the motif of a dog being sacrificed in place of a human being. In the North Riding of Yorkshire, attempts were made to build a bridge that could withstand the fury of the floods, but none were successful. The devil promised to build one on condition that the first living creature that crossed it should serve as a sacrifice. When the bridge was completed, the people gave long consideration as to who should be the victim. A shepherd who owned a dog named Grim swam across the river, then whistled for Grim to follow, went over the bridge, and became the devil's sacrifice. The bridge then became known as Kilgrim Bridge, which today crosses the River Ure in the North Yorkshire. That's so fun. Bury a lamb under the altar. When the person enters the church when services are not being held, they may see a lamb. If it appears in the graveyard, then it portends the death of a child. The lamb is meant to represent Christ as a sacred cornerstone of the church, imparting security and longevity to the physical edifice and congregation. Okay, well, we'll toss this as a little bit of funness. We decided not to use the shadow dragon, which is sad. Church dragon is a guardian spirit. The Kirkogrim and the Kirkegrim. Danish. Grinish. Can I speak? The answer is no. Alrighty. It's believed that sadomastiffs resulted from dogs that were killed by undead shadows and then transported to the demi-plane of shadow to be with others of their kind. These guys are neutral evil. I want to use the Church Grim, but I don't want to use it here, I don't think. Because I want it to be a little bit sadder instead of scarier, if that makes sense. That's what I think I want. So I think we will save the Shadow Mastiff. I think we will save both of these. Shadow slime was a type of ooze. As soon as some shadow slimes detect movement, they drop on top of their prey. That's fun. You know, I like anything that gives you a jump scare in D&D, which is, considering D&D is a more verbal storytelling medium, I think that jump scares are something that's fun. Just a little. Shadow staff. We already read about these guys. Oh, but we were gonna do some note-taking on them. Shadow staff. Uniquely immortal servant, but we're not interested in that. We're interested in this stuff. Could become completely insubstantial. Will. They attack with weapons. That's boring. Shadow staffs could cast any spell they knew during their lifetime. Items touched by them hovered in the air. Oh, but there was something that we saw over here that was interesting. We're not undead, could not be harmed or influenced. Completely unsubstantial. Oh no, never mind. That must have been another one. An image of a church grim. Some of the legends say they carry lanterns when patrolling the graveyard. Okay, one second. Look at the good boy. I love legends about animals specifically because they're either like really bad, like kind of this one's a little bit of both. They're like either really bad or really heartwarming, but like this one's a weird mix of both where it's like they killed a dog, but the dog protects the graveyard for everyone. It's just very nice. It's nice. I do love that lore a lot. It's so fun. He's a good pupper. Any item hovered in the air that they touched. They can't throw anything. What an odd inconvenience. The shadow staff could execute a special hold attack when touching a target. Doing so rendered them substantial. Held targets remained in that condition for 10 minutes unless struck by something. Shadow staffs possess stout resistances to all cold and electrical-based attacks. At will, a shadow staff could make all magical items radiate with fairy fire that could last several hours. A shadow staff was completely immune to any attempt to control or influence their mind. I love legends and historical misconceptions, people coming up with weird explanations for things they don't understand. Yeah, it's so interesting, especially before people started trying to figure out how the world works and how people work, how those like different legends and stuff came about and how they just kind of accepted it as what was then our consideration of magic. They just immediately took it as reality to some extent. Though the exact number of nature of the tasks performed by shadow staffs were known only by a few magisters, they also provided unique insight to mages and clergymen. Shadow staffs took a more active role, could be slain, but were able to easily avoid destruction while serving Mista. They didn't draw breath to require sleep or sustenance. Oh, they were literally like, I'm tired of existing. Please send me home. The gods were usually compassionate to their requests. Or erased. Their minds were erased to protect vital divine secrets. Alright, we have a Sorrow Sworn as our next one that we're gonna take a look at. Sorrowsworn was a creature that preyed upon feelings of grief and loss, once held to be a breed of Tanari demon. Dominant race of demons in the abyss. Evil souls warped by raw chaos into manifestations of mortal failing. Though they resembled undead demons, they were in fact manifestations of the Shadowfell and fragments of death incarnate. Three kinds were known: Soul Rippers, Reapers, and Death Lords. A gaunt humanoid, standing at tall and weighing 500 pounds. How does it weigh? Doesn't it float? Oh, it does not float. Those are legs. It had hooked claws for hands, a dusky black hide, and bat wings. Reapers and Death Lords dressed in robes. Powers. At a whim, the Sorrow-sworn demon exuded an aura that provoked creatures within 30 feet to suffer intense feelings of despair and personal loss, constantly imagining the worst bereavements and failures they've ever known. I think we might save the trauma, like the excessive trauma, for a little bit later in the campaign. Especially for when they know each other a little bit better. When in battle or tormenting a victim, hissed and whispered incessantly. They were also a mind reader. Could also communicate via telepathy to anyone within 100 feet, who spoke a language in common, enabling it to transmit its cruel whispers. So maybe like some possession type stuff we could rock and roll with. Not possession, but like influence, I guess is the correct word. As a master manipulator of the mind, the Sorrow-sworn demon was inured to similar tactics. Unholy will. Why is this? There we go. And a resistance to spell. In addition to supernatural powers. It was innately good at stealth and survival, deceit, intimidation, and knowledge of lore and magic, and extremely keen senses. Combat. Prey on its victims from hiding. Unknown. A glaive. Soul Rippers stalked and ambushed their victims. Scythes. Death Lords went for hit and run attacks. Preyed upon folk who'd suffered great loss or sorrow. You know, just your everyday Wednesday activity. They coaxed them to ever greater feasts on the sorrow that saturated a land with the cutting short of its youth and potential. They came to pass to battlefields and made their lairs in close by ruins where they could feed on the despair that still hung over such places. They lurked around hospitals, that's sad, orphanages, and the homes of bereft people, mass graves. innate knowledge of their victims valued or regretted. They harassed them with whispers of previous failures and their coming fate. Interesting. I'm gonna copy that over just because what if they were whispered like you can't run far enough and stuff like that. I feel like they wouldn't serve the Raven Queen. They're unaligned? Bro, this sounds pretty evil to me. I don't know. Guarded the foundation of loss in the Shadowfell. What's that? House of Loss. A tower, no windows or doors. Prisoners who desired freedom. The second layer of Hades. Interesting. Let's look at Wraith 5e. I prefer roll 20s. Stat block. Wraith. Alright. Sweet, sweet darkness. Powerless in natural sunlight, they had no visual features or appendages except for their glowing red eyes. Death. We are death shrouded in darkness. Sweet death. Alright, they became weaker under the exposure of full darkness for sunlight, sorry. Like many undead wraiths possessed a chilling touch. However, these beings were most similar in nature to the unknown as wights. Both could drain creatures of their life energy and could only be harmed by silver or enchanted weaponry. In medieval England, notice that there were different birds seen based on the seasons. He concluded that some birds must hibernate in winter and others in summer, the idea of birds migrating over large distances not coming to him. He often saw swallows dive at the water of lakes and rivers. They catch sick insects, but this made him conclude that swallows must hibernate deep in the mud at the bottom of lakes and rivers. Why would he think that? I feel like maybe if you didn't know that birds need to breathe. What a wild, wild way of guessing what's going on there. Any item touched by Shadow Staff. Okay, variants, moon rays, wisp rays. Relationships. Wah. Wight. A wight is an undead creature given a semblance of life through sheer violence and hatred. I don't know if we want to. I don't even want to take the time. Alrighty. Necrotic, poison, incorporeal movement. The wraith can move through other creatures as if they were difficult terrain. Life drain. Great Spectre. The wraith creates a humanoid within 10 feet that has been dead. I don't think this will happen, but we'll copy and paste it just in case. They should not die on the first session, you know? Probably. Hopefully. Okay, I think that does it for our notes. So now let's do a little bit of some creature creation. Shadow creatures, we're gonna make some. Alrighty. Well, they disappear and have to go somewhere. Nobody had found swallows hibernating, so it must be in a place humans can't easily get to. I suppose that train of thought makes sense, but the idea of somebody being like, you know what, they disappeared, they in the water. They're in the water and they can breathe, question mark. I don't know, especially considering I don't think any bird has any kind of water breathing capabilities. So I don't know where, maybe that was just we'll give him some benefit of the doubt and make maybe that was just like an early theory of his. Alrighty, we'll make some lesser shadow creatures and major shadow creatures. Screechers, yes. Alrighty. Shadow creatures. Shadowfell, necrotic undead. Alright, let's get hopping on this. I feel like their armor class would be high because they're partially incorporeal. But I don't know how fast they would move. They're wispy. Probably able to move pretty quickly, so we'll give them an armor class of like, these guys are level 7. Hang on, I gotta look at some creatures. I'm out of touch, guys. I'm out of touch. Let's look at CR7 creatures. 7. Oh, I need shield guard, stone giant, black dragon. Yeah. Okay. Armor class 12. Armor class 16. Armor class 17. 17, 18, 17. So I think we'll do like a 17. 17 armor class. And let's do hit points. Oh, for the lesser, maybe for the major we do 17. For the lesser we do 15. We'll do hit points like 50-ish hit points for a major shadow creature. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm just wanting to give them a ton of challenges, which is probably not great. So let's take a look at actually some of their stuff. Let's take a look at Oliver. Ooh, Jesse got back to me. So the warlocks will go in and modify her generous too. They know. How to erase and repeat her memories every few years, rather than the character drawing. Okay, I will have to go in and fix that then later. So let's take a look at Oliver's. Does he have his? Yes, he does. Perfect. Okay. Let's not go any further. Oh well. +8, a 1d8 +6. Battle Master. So they're not going to be doing a ton of damage per round, and I want these to go down in about 2 to 3 rounds. So we'll make them 25 HP. Yeah. Their speed will be 30. Strength probably +0. Dexterity +5. Con +3. We'll do +2. Intelligence +1. Wisdom +2. Charisma +0. Probably -3. Oh no, because intimidation is, so we'll do +0. Passive perception is gonna be 12. Challenge will make, I don't care about labeling challenge, there's no reason to. And I kind of want to make a new type of creature. Let's do shadow. Shadow! I can't type, I promise I can, I promise. Along the same lines, there's a medieval book that concluded butterflies are plants. Not knowing the connection between caterpillars and butterflies, they had brought some plants inside that seemed to have grown some unusual buds, and butterflies came out after a few days. Interesting. There are ways for a plant to spread its seed in the same way that some plants produce seeds that can be carried by the wind. That's so interesting. I wonder what the date on that book was. Like what the year was. That's so funny. I guess if you don't know that all living creatures have to be born from other living creatures and not from plants, that makes sense. Alignment. We're not gonna give it an alignment because we don't care. Let's go ahead and get some stuff going. Let's open up shadow creatures, dust elementals. Let's do this and get some of these areas going. So we've got, speed is simple for these guys. Damage resistance, so damage, vulnerabilities, damage resistances. Spiel. Dude. Condition. Condition immunities. I have senses is, I don't think that's particularly important. I just imagine that they can probably just see in darkness as they would normally. Languages is also not terribly important. I would imagine that there's some kind of shadow language that they know that people don't. Air form. The elemental can enter a hostile creature's space and stop there. So these are going to be abilities that we can make up along the way. And why did I scroll down? We need to make actions for them. Alright, we'll toss that to the side right now. So Shadowfell, Necrotic Undead, Magical Dimness. So this whole space, I think, is just going to have a Magical Dimness. I don't know why I took this away from you. A darkness lies over this area. Almost feeling like it seeps into your lungs. I want it to be very, like, pressing. I want it to feel heavy. So, any light, the light sources you may have out have about half the distance that it usually does, and your vision is also halved. Perfect. Shadow spells or enhanced. Alrighty, so while they're in this space, maybe while in this space, spells that deal with light or fire are less predictable and prone to failure, and shadow spells are enhanced. Perfect. So we'll bop that out of there. Melissa Cheeto, if individuals allowed evil thoughts or depression to enter their minds. Alrighty, so I kind of want to incorporate that. So while facing the shadow creatures, if the players have thoughts of desperation, it's E, isn't it? Yeah, it is. If the players have thoughts of desperation or quote unquote bad thoughts, so like things such as like the outcome of the battle not going to plan or something like that, or oh no, we're in trouble type situation, they're gonna have a little bit of a, what's it called? My brain's not working. They're going to have a detriment of some kind. If the players have thoughts of desperation or bad thoughts, let's think about this. Maybe their wisdom score goes down by 1. No, I want it to be something that they can't avoid by not saying anything. Thoughts of desperation or bad thoughts. Hide action as a bonus action, stealth bonus also improved +6. Maybe, I do want something there, but we will come back to that. So I will look at that later. While facing the shadow creatures, if players have thoughts of desperation or bad thoughts, they alright, if individuals allowed evil thoughts or depression to enter their minds, it would creep inside them and eat their souls. Eat their souls. Okay, Nightwalker. Creature that is neither man nor beast. Head and face are small and shriveled. Does not harm man. It takes delight in their fright as its yells resemble a woman's scream. That might be fun for the bigger guys. Okay, okay. Let's top that right here. Okay, dark silhouettes with human shapes and profile flicker outside of, in and out of peripheral vision. So players who realize that they are asleep can be paralyzed and possessed, and the character's dream itself, well, character's dream self will be turned into a shadow person. If someone falls unconscious, they are possessed. Okay. And we'll toss this down here as well. Alright, Nightwings in particular could drain the magic from items with but a touch. Okay. Let's toss this here. Nightwalker takes delight in the corruption and suffering of others. Let me check something real fast. Okay. Delight in the corruption and suffering of others, annihilating aura. Creature that turns... Okay, let's do this. We'll do it on the big guys. Creature that starts its turn within 30 feet of the shadow must succeed a DC. We'll do like do DC 17. No, we'll do DC, yeah, 17. 16. Go right in the middle. Constitution saving throw or is take 4d6. Let's do 3d6. 4 times 3 is 12, so we'll do 11. Necrotic damage and grant the Nightwalker advantage on attack rolls. The shadow attack advantage on attack rolls against it until the start of the creature's next turn. If you look at very old image of the story of Sir George and the dragon is depicted pretty small and often with a forked tongue. Many people forget that when Sir George slew the dragon, he was in Africa, and some monitor lizards in that area can get pretty big and have forked tongues, but people in England did not realize that lizards could get that big. That's a good point. It's interesting to me that they would depict something with a wings that doesn't have wings. I guess the medieval times and all that were rife with drama, I guess, to some extent. damage resistances, nah. Necrotic, yeah. Charmed, exhaustion, grappled. Paralyzed, petrified, poisoned, prone, restrained. Condition immunities are good for that, actually. Incorporeal movement is perfect. Let's toss that there for a second. Innate spell casting, no. Magic resistance, no. And then sunlight sensitivity, I believe, is on both of them. But I don't think that's going to come into play, honestly, because they don't have sunlight. But we'll toss it in there just in case. They could cast daylight, to be fair. I want them to be aura based and not so like physical attack based, if that makes sense. So the Shadow Beast buffets opponents with a gale of animated shadows in a 15-foot cone. And knocked prone. Okay, let's do pushed back and knocked prone. Well, I want it to do damage. We'll put that there. And then we will come back to that momentarily. Nightwalker took daylight in the corruption and suffering of others. Annihilating aura. Enervating focus. Oh no, we do want this to be higher. So 15. And it's gonna be 46. It was this one that I wanted to be lower. Innovating focus. Put this under actions. Alrighty. That's it for the Nightwalker for now. And then we are going to do a little bit of editing on the enervating focus. Melee attack weapon. The answer is no, it's not going to be. Let's do a 3d8. Because, so the thing is, we've given Cass, specifically, a lot of HP, so most of these attacks are probably going to be focused on him. So we're gonna keep this at higher. We're gonna keep it at higher. They're just gonna have to deal. Well, let's actually take a look at Cass's HP. HP is 74. It's not bad at all. Yeah, I think that will be good. Alright, hit points gotta be higher on these boyos. So let's do 70-ish. 30 speed, they float. Strength. We'll do similar. We'll make this actually +4 for the lesser dudes. +2. Oops. +0, perfect. Later depiction gives the creature's forked tongues more and more prongs until what comes out of its mouth no longer looks like a tongue but flames. Oh, interesting. That's so interesting. I guess that does make sense on where that idea came from. I would have just imagined that it would have come from heat, from like a desert type situation. I am losing energy quickly. Oh my goodness. Alrighty. Shade, Shadow Slime, Shadow Staff, Wraith. Alright. Damage vulnerabilities, Radiant. Of course, of course. The shade can move through space as narrow as 1 inch wide. Shadow Style Fountain. Sunlight, I'm trying to think of stuff that we will also use as well as things that I want to be part of the creatures. So, while in sunlight, the shade has disadvantage on attack rolls. We already did that, so goodbye, shade. I just want to include a Shadow Slime. I just want them to drop onto their heads. I really do. So let's look up the Shadow Slime. Okay, armor class 8 hit points. Would it be too much? Would it be too much? Shadow ooze. I do ooze. Armor class A, 76, speed 20, strength +3. -2, +4, -4, -2, -4. Passive perception is gonna be 8, brother. Whoops. Challenge CR 3. Skills, damage, immunities, condition immunities, senses. Blind beyond this radius. Perfect. Alrighty, give them some nice little fun little things to be able to do. Frozen defense. I don't know if I want to include that. Ooze nature. Alright, and actions. Let's go. Multi-attack, pseudopod, and snuff out. Perfect. Okay, Shadow Ooze there, just in case we need it, you know, just in case we're feeling it. And let's do Shadow Staff. Any item touched by the Shadow Staff. I kind of want this for all of them. But I will keep it in the brain and not actually in the thing because we're running out of room. As a demon, it could also communicate via telepathy. And cruel whispers. I do want this. Alright, I'm just giving it everything in the kitchen sink. Perfect. And then erase drain of energy, incorporeal movement, create specter. I don't think this will come into play. Alrighty. Okay, 5. It's supposed to be 3. 3 is a good number. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so let's just finish up these little things. Okay. So we'll put these here. And actions. Let's do basically a lesser version of... Oh, I forgot we're on page 1. A lesser version of these. DC 13, let's do DC 12, or take 2d6. Innovating focus. Melee weapon attack plus 12 to hit. Reaches 15 feet. 1 target. So this is going to be a plus. This is going to just be a melee attack. We'll do plus 8 to hit. Well, maybe we should do plus 6 for the little guys and plus 8 for the bigger guys. Okay, the target must succeed on a DC 21. We also need to change that to be DC 16. Woohoo. Would have been a wild fight for those guys. Okay, so any creature that starts its turn within 30 feet of the shadow must succeed on a DC 12 con save. A DC, we'll switch those numbers around. Con save or take 8 necrotic damage and grant the shadow advantage on attack rolls against it until the start of the creature's next turn. Enervating focus. Melee attack plus 6 to hit is too much. Let's do a 1d8, and its hit point is not reduced for the small guys. We'll do in that case we'll do like a 2d8, methinks. A 2d8 for those guys, which would ultimately be like a 6 plus, say like a total of 12-ish, maybe 13. If I don't feel like doing math. Alright, and now let's look at these guys. Okay, sorry, just checking something. Oh, cancel, we don't need to have that. Alright, okay, so resistances. I don't think we ever filled those out for this guy. Damage resistance is gonna be necrotic, obviously. Probably nothing else. It's probably immune to poison, I would imagine. Immune to necrotic. I would just do, ooh, lightning for some reason. Strikes me as more necrotic in nature. Yeah, lightning and then thunder. Alright, have a good one, Edwin. Then I actually think we're pretty much done, honestly, once we get this all figured out. Clean this up a little bit. Alrighty, almost done. As a demon, it can also communicate via telepathy, who speaks in a common language, and basically they're just gonna be like, you messed up in your past, get wrecked. Incorporeal movement, perfect. If someone falls unconscious, they're possessed. Easy peasy. I don't know if I want to do that one. I don't think they'll ever get that close, but we shall see. Although it does not harm man, it takes delight in their fright as it yells a sound that resembles a woman's scream. So I actually think that the enervative focus is gonna be part of this down here. It takes delight in their fright. I'd love to see it. Sunlight sensitivity, normal, shadow push. We'll put that under actions. Shadow Beast buffets opponents with a gale of animated shadows and a 15-foot cone. Any creature must succeed on a strength saving throw or be pushed back 10 feet and knocked prone. I don't think it needs a recharge for these big guys. And then we will do the and takes, let's do a nice little enervating focus. Necrotic. Can I spell? Necrotic damage. Or be pushed back 10 feet and knocked prone and takes 28 necrotic damage. Shouldn't be 28, should it? 4 times 4 is 16 plus 6. Let's do like 24 on average. Perfect. We'll do yeah, we'll do this, I think. Yeah, I think that looks good for these guys. So type shadow. Yeah, I think we have our monsters for that session. We've got our notes for the most part, as well as some extra notes that I may go through later. And I think that we are good to go. Alrighty. Yeah, I guess that's it. So, thank you guys for being here, and I hope you all have a good day. Bye.